Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London. In the last episode we managed to find the old Baron, father of the Grand Baron, and we brought the body up here instead of the Fairfax's family, the Fairfax's body, which is what he wanted. And we kinda need to find out who this other claimant is, so I think I'm going to start off here by asking the Baron about the other claimant. He fulfilled his other wishes, still he's a difficult character. You'll need to muster all your charm to get him to give you up a secret. The Grand Baron is sitting on his throne, drinking brandy from a precious goblet in great gulps. Some spills from his bandages, splattering obscenely onto the marble. He smiles. "You've done all that I've asked. Very well. You'll find this funny." He slaps his thigh in glee, causing dust to rise up his bandages. "It's my housekeeper! Yes, her! And the beauty of it, she'll never accept it in 1,000 years, he crackles throatily. I must confess I'm quite proud of the notion. It's kept everything sealed up tight, until we can be ready to effect my escape. He waves bandaged hand airily. You may of course proceed as you wish with the will now. I prefer my heir not inherit, but it makes no difference to me now. If he makes a mess, well, I can always find a way back to set things straight. Grandfather always knows best. There's a dark twinkle in his eye. So we can consider the claimants, but I wonder if we can talk to the housekeeper about this. So let's spend the morning exploring. We have to spend time in the lower chambers, wait for it to be evening. Here we go. We can talk. Can we pass the evening with a dependable housekeeper's company? Or is it the same as before? No, that's exactly the same as what was there last time, so I guess our only choice is to consider the claimants. The Grand Baron has arranged his affairs to ensure a legal snarl. His latest will names the reclusive heir inheritor of his estate. However, at the same time, he also drew up a will naming the dependable housekeeper his heir. Your legal advice from London suggested you convince one or the other surrender their claim to resolve this impasse and free you from the Grand Baron's clutches. Do we have any other choices here? We do have a choice. We can either ask the dependable housekeeper to surrender her claim. She'll never be expected to inherit. The reclusive heir is a blood relative. Or we can ask the reclusive heir to surrender his claim. He is always expected to receive the estate, but perhaps he would be freer without it. And perhaps you think another deserves it more. Now, there is a small part of me that would quite like to see the dependable housekeeper actually have the estate. It would be very funny. But then, a blood relative is more likely to have the claim? Would you not just contest the will at this point? Is that a thing Victorians did? Okay, let's... This is a really hard decision for me. I think I'm going to push for the dependable housekeeper. Let's ask the reclusive heir to surrender his claim. That's the more interesting choice, I believe. But then I needed trust with the housekeeper to get that one. Ooh. Damn it, maybe not. Plus the Grand Baron doesn't want his heir to get it. So... the thing is, this choice is final and it cannot be undone. There's a little bit of a worrying thing, whereas this one I can change my mind. So let's ask the reclusive heir to surrender his claim. Oh, and then it's just gone to, this decision is final and cannot be undone. Wonderful. The reclusive heir examines you carefully, his eyes watery. My whole life I've been raised to run the estate. I had such visions for it. You point out that the Grand Baron never meant for him to have it. His life has... not to be unduly unkind, been predicated on a falsehood. Perhaps now it's time to strike out on his own. He bites his lip. Not alone, he says. I'm not strong enough for that. If there was another, a safe harbour. Ooh! This is much more interesting. We can suggest ourselves. You've grown fond of the air. You could be the safe harbour in the storm. You could be its future if he wants it. His eyes widen. You take his hands, feel his pulse dance in his wrists. I was afraid you'd turn me away. He looks away, then back at you, his eyes shining. Yes, he says. Yes, with you standing beside me, I can be brave. He informs the dependable housekeeper of his decision to disclaim the inheritance. You do not hear what passes between them, but when they emerge she is red-eyed but convinced. It is what the heir wants, and perhaps, if she'll admit to herself, it's what she wants too. She has been running the estate for years, after all. The matter of the inheritance is settled. Now you only need to convene the court. So we have two choices here. So we can inform the court of the Grand Baron's plan. He means to fool them and escape the sanatorium altogether. He has engineered everything but your silenced. Or we can convene the court of silent sorrow. You have arranged matters to your satisfaction. Now you must only wait for judgment to be rendered. Let's just convene the court. I want to see what happens when the old Baron takes the seat, which is the Grand Baron's father. As legate of the Court of Silent Sorrow, you have untangled the knot of the Grand Baron made of his will. Now it is time to present your findings to the judge and be free of this dreary place, clogged as it is with whispers and webs. Let's present our case to the judge. The judge listens, disinterestingly, your explanation of the will and the matter of the inheritance. He requests the claimants approach the bench. He surveys them with the haughty rigour of the almost dead. If this is sufficient for each party, then the court is satisfied, the judge says. The doors to the court open. 2 hulking Tomb-Colonists drag in the corpse you carried to the Baron, dressed in his discarded robes. The guards apologise to the judge for the Baron's deteriorated condition. This is interrupted by the agonised screaming of the corpse, who speaks in a voice quite unlike the Baron's. It has been ruined by years on the far shore. It unspools a bloody tale of betrayal, maiming, and false interment. "My son, the cuckoo who ate his kin," the old Baron hisses, foam rolling down his ancient chin. "He took everything and left me only dust." There may be more complaints, but the old Baron's vocal cords have given out. Stunned silence fills the court. At last, the judge, evidently shocked, speaks. "This is not the Baron. Send word to the Venderblight Legion. He shall be found. Until then, this testimony will suffice to the deficiency of character. I declare the legate's arrangement for the estate stands." The judgment is rendered. You are free to go. The judge is unapologetic, but he does go so far as to arrange passage back to London for you and the others. You wait for hours in the gloomy antechamber of the sanatorium, scrupulously ignored by the Tomb-Colonists and the hulking guards at the bronze gates. The heir and the housekeeper are dazed by the events of the trial and a sombre company. At last, a sprightly Tomb-Colonist appears to bring the good news. Your carriage awaits, so we can return to London, to the lights and the living, to where sound rises above a whisper and where the shadow of death is far away. The carriage is black, the horses white. The driver is a Tomb-Colonist, but his eyes are bright. He is delighted to share gossip as you rattle back to Venderblight. From there, you do not have to wait long until a steamer is found to carry you home. As the docks of Woolstack Dock wash over the ship, the heir thanks you for your assistance. "I'll be in touch," he says. "I promise you. And unlike my grandfather, I mean to keep my promises." You say your farewells at the dockside before heading home. At long last, you to your lodgings, as they to the Ash Tree Hall. Time to go home and resume your old life. Wonderful. The epilogue. News from Ash Tree Hall. It's been several days since you parted from your companions after returning from the Grand Sanatorium. There was, they said, much to do at the hall that required their attention. Payment for services rendered would be coming as soon as possible. The Baron's debts would be honoured. That time has come. A plump envelope lands on your doormat with a pleasing thud. The crest of Ash Tree Hall is on the front. Within are 3 crisp letters. Oh dear. Read the letter bearing the Baron's name. News of the Grand Baron, no doubt. The Grand Baron writes frantically. He is on the lam, he says, deep in the Tomb-Colonies. The Baron's name in London is Mud. Henceforth and Revolt are receiving claims against him by the hour. There will be no peace in the colonies until he is found. He is seeking passage to the Elder Continent as soon as he can. The Prester will grant him eternal life. The Baron will convince him that he deserves it. He has not forgotten your treachery. When he comes into his power again, renewed with fresh life, he will find you. And the letter goes on for some time. You put it away. These are the ravings of a doomed man. They are no more than paper, and one day they shall be dust. Let's read the letter from the dependable housekeeper. Her handwriting is unmistakable. She is overwhelmed with her new title. She has had so many invitations that she's barely had time to write this note. But she will never forget you. She has had good advice. The heir has left her his journals, which she consults before meeting any of her new aristocratic friends. She has plans to open up the hall, a retirement home for servants, she thinks. A halfway house between London and the colonies, where one can adjust to the slower pace. Oh, wonderful. And then we can read the letter from the reclusive heir. It has been inevitably written with a quill. The missive is short, but hopeful. The heir has been sketching the hall before he leaves it. Your assistance has given him the impetus to strike out into the world. He will, he is sure, settle in time, but it's been so long since he's been in London proper. He means to find some friends of his own, like-minded sorts who share at least some of his enthusiasms. After the funeral, he's certain he's not as alone as he thought. He looks forward to seeing you. You've been his candle in the dark, he writes, and like a moth, he wishes to draw near. He is not sure what the future holds, but he hopes, more sincerely than anything else he's ever hoped, that you form a part of it. Here is a final note. The will of the Grand Baron left a retainer's fee for his legate. It is a legally binding and has been obliged to the hall to give up its best bottle in the cellar. On this matter, at least, the law is clear. Ooh, a bottle of 4th City Airag, year of the tortoise. The matter of Ashtree Hall is settled, and you have more than earned your fee. The sanatorium is behind you, or at least a long way ahead of you. For now, your life in London awaits, and we got one memory of a tale. And I believe that that is in fact the end of this exceptional story. Thank you very much for watching. I am actually very happy with that ending to that story. I'm glad the housekeeper got what she deserved more than anything else, and the heir moved on with his life and broke the chains of his family. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you did. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. It's greatly appreciated. And as always, I'll see you next time.